live, so I guess this is being broadcast somehow. So, all right, cool. So Andy, how's business going?
That's going great. Busy. Yeah,
I
really
like your
good.
I like your big TV back there behind you.
Yeah.
You need something cool
Never
and
get a chance
flashy
to use
to
it.
put back there. Do you
Yeah, we
turn
get a
around and
PowerPoint
watch it?
and use that. Yeah. I don't think it's hooked up to any actual channels, but laptop.
Need some flashy graphics just displaying to make you look high tech.
I should have thought of that next time.
All right, cool.
Hey,
What's going?
crew.
Hey, what's
Hey,
up, man?
Not much, just living the dream. How about you guys?
Doing well.
yeah.
I mean, hey, Andy, what's going on, man?
Oh man, just business.
Oh, good. Man, you got an awesome, badass TV right behind you.
I
That's how you
just
know
said
you.
that.
That's
I was
how
like,
you
hey,
know you've made it.
Oh man, this
the big
office is
TV in the office.
kind of a cool conference room. I could show you the whole thing here. I don't
Yeah,
know if it'll
yeah,
go
man. Let's check
around.
it out.
It's got like the glass wall conference room and
Oh, dude, that's great, man.
yeah, yeah.
Gosh, dang. I just want to be like you someday, Andy. Uh,
I'm just trying to look smart, right?
Hey man, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. No, I like it. I'm digging it. I'm actually in South Dakota today, so not my normal digs.
All right, I'm sending out a push notification on Push Crew. You guys ever
I
use
like
Push Crew?
but I like your setup, Jason. Like you got like a legit podcast video setup. Pretty sick, man.
I've got my cool mic here.
Yep, boom mic, everything.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I dropped my daughters off at the airport this morning from my first marriage.
Mhm.
The two daughters from my first marriage. And I was like sad. I tried to make a video and put it up on Facebook, and then I ended up blubbering through the whole thing. I'm like, "Ugh,
That's tough, man. That's tough.
it's
That's
hard
tough duty.
stuff, man. I had them
It,
all
it,
summer, but
do you
it's
know
always
what?
hard when they leave.
Airports like either have like the most happiest of time, like the worst of time. There's no like impartialness to airports. I guess like business travel, but if you're ever dealing like an emotional aspect, it's either like, hey, somebody's coming who you're ecstatic to see. It's sadness. You're leaving, so it can be terrible as well.
You ever seen the movie Love Actually?
Nope, I've avoided that one.
So in the movie they show this, I think that was the movie. In the movie they show this scene at the beginning, I think it is, at an airport, and they're just showing how much like love there is at the airport, right? Just, people hugging and saying goodbye and people reuniting. I love watching the people do that. It really is great people watching at the airport.
Oh, it's the best. It's the absolute best. I actually invited a few people that said they were going to come, so I'm just
Cool.
messaging them with the link to the Google Hangout. I
All right, I'll post it in here. Post.
really am digging your office there, Andy. There's a lot of jealousy coursing through my veins.
All I see is the TV. Did I miss it? What else you got?
Yeah, you didn't see it's one of those glass conference rooms. Andy, you'll have to do one more tour.
One more tour
They
here. We
don't
got
they
the
don't do anything half-ass in
glass
Vegas.
walls.
Is that where you're at in Vegas?
Yep,
Nice.
there's my Starbucks if you can see it, and
Yeah, it's
Fun.
sick, man. I love it.
So this is just my home office. I'm on the second floor. I got this window and my big fat sofa chair that I'd like to chill in. And then right here I stand up and work sometimes, so I can just go up here and I'm just standing.
That's
And I'll
nice.
move my laptop to right here, so it's my standing desk.
I don't mean to one up you guys, but you need to check out the digs I'm at here.
all right. What do we got?
You look like you're in like the den,
I am in the den.
the hunter den.
This is the in-laws. I'm I
kind of
traveled here
fun.
last night, and hopefully this doesn't offend anybody.
Oh, the animals.
The animals, the gun cabinet, they got it all.
I don't think any of us are vegans here.
Very
Good,
cool.
good.
No offense if you're vegan.
No offense.
I've done the raw foods diet thing before. I tried that for a while.
That now does that include the meat aspect as well?
Um, yeah, it was just like plants.
Oh! I thought you meant like cook nothing.
No,
Like,
like,
okay.
yeah, the raw
Not
foods. Yeah.
and of course the only thing I'm referring to like is like not poultry and not pork. I'd imagine those are pretty terrible to eat raw. But I know it's actually pretty common up in Wisconsin. A lot of people eat beef just raw. Throw it on burgers, crackers.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Neither do I. And
I'm,
I'm not
I
sushi
don't
for the
like things
beef world.
cooked too much, but I like it cooked.
The only thing that I
I do
go
like
to,
sushi though.
yes, no, sushi's great, but the rule is, I forget what it is. It's literally to kill all the bacteria. So ground beef is exposed to oxygen when you grind it, which is
Yeah.
what can cause it can actually be, get bacteria and stuff. But steak, the inside's never been exposed to oxygen, so I think you have to sear the outside at 180 degrees for like a short period of time, and it will kill everything. So as long as you do that on both sides, your money. Like you can eat as raw as you want.
Yeah,
As long as
that's exactly right. Back in the old days in high school, I worked at a Ponderosa. You remember? Do you have Ponderosa back
Oh
somewhere?
yeah, I remember.
They're Florida and the
Steakhouse.
Midwest chain. I I think they're almost out of business. Although last time I was in Florida, I actually found one, but most of their stores are closed. But I worked there in high school, and that was exactly the rule: is if it's a steak, you just have to cook it on the outside. The inside's safe. So I think you
yeah.
got good advice.
Okay.
As a person who
Somewhat
literally
healthy
would
cow.
yeah, healthy cow. Well, honestly, if I could get away with it, I would eat nothing but meat my entire life. I can't stand
Yeah.
vegetables, and honestly, until I met my wife, I didn't even understand the whole sides thing.
Mhm.
I would just eat like a main course of meat and then a side dish of meat of the same variety, and that's how I ate. Maybe it's growing up in a family of 5, like where my family didn't, my mom didn't really have time to like make us elaborate meals, so it was like just meat. Here you go. Here's the meat. Have it.
Cool. All right. I think we have a new guest here. Hey, Brian.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Where's your face?
Ah, my face.
Hey.
It's missing right now.
Oh man. Is this like Phantom of the Opera?
You have the
Gotta
picture?
get your mask ready.
Does it show my picture?
We see your picture. You look really happy in this picture.
That's me all the time. Just ask Ray.
You're like Joker happy. You look really happy, man. So welcome.
Thank you.
So Brian, where are you at?
I'm in Maryland.
So what's Maryland like?
Right now it's hot.
So are you near DC?
Yeah, so basically I'm pretty much smack dab between Baltimore and DC. I've been here now since 2001, so this is home.
So, and you manage properties there?
I just sold my management company.
Okay.
In I guess March of this year. At our peak, we were 70 doors multifamily, and then 30 door single family.
Okay.
So
little boutique type of firm.
yeah. I got out of it because I just didn't have the energy anymore for that kind of business.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading some of your threads earlier regarding people looking to possibly get up into this business, and I would definitely share my experiences because there's a lot of things that people don't realize, and I was one of those included. A lot of this work was accounting work. A lot of this work was being referee, and I think people need to know that before they jump into this.
Yeah, I've never done property management. I'm a nerd. So my brother's got 600 doors over in Orange County, California, and then my dad just got started. He was a hospital administrator for like 30 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
And he decided to get into the entrepreneur space, and he's got like I think 18 doors or something like that. Right now, he just got started this summer, so he's up to a good little start.
Yeah, that's a hard
Lots
place.
of learning to do.
You know, when you're under 50 or 75 doors, it's just a really hard place to be because, you know, there's not enough revenue to support a large staff, and you're doing a lot of the work.
Any staff, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. That's why Ray has a business. and Andy. So
Exactly. And Brian, I can relate. I just sold my property management company last year to start my current business. But when I jumped into it, my wife actually sort of started the business when I was working full time. And when I jumped into it, you know, we had under 100 properties. We really couldn't hire anybody, and it was do everything. It was quite a challenge.
Oh, wow. Well, kudos on the sale of that property.
Oh yeah, thank you. We moved to Las Vegas because my wife and I just had our first grandchild, so I had to figure out a way to get out of that business, and I had this other business idea to help property managers, so it worked out great.
That is parental commitment, by the way.
We weren't going to, but you know, as the time got closer, we were just like, yeah, we gotta move.
Yeah.
And we're about to have our second one in January. They just told us, so.
Oh, really? Congrats,
So
man.
it's definitely a good thing we came out here.
exciting stuff.
How many doors did you have when you sold, Andy?
Less than 250, but around 250. We actually had gotten it close to 300, but we kind of cleaned up our book. We had a lot of kind of older multifamilies with, you know, questionable owners, so we cleaned up a lot of that stuff. By the time we got out, we were probably around 2.25.
Yeah, the cleanup's one of the smartest things you could probably do.
It is. We went the first. I mean, we went the first almost 7 years of our business never firing an owner, and when we did the first one, we were like, wow, we've got to.
We should have done that sooner.
Exactly.
I'm sure that's what you were saying.
Exactly. I had a broker. I had 5 brokers, or four other brokers, and I told one of them I just basically kind of gave her the indication that it would be okay if we didn't have this client. She called me back a couple hours later and said, okay, he's gone. I said, wow, great.
There's something so empowering by firing a customer. It feels so good to stand up for yourself and say, I'm not going to take this shit. I'm done with this. I'm done with dealing with people like you that treat me like this.
Well, I probably didn't fire enough of those, but this particular one, and then a few after we fired because they just wouldn't fix the house. And we couldn't have to continue to manage the house, and that's where we ended up getting rid of some of the multifamilies. I mean, we're just slumlords.
I call that being the shit shield for the slumlord.
Yeah. So we just the go-between trying to pass along this horrible message about how we're not going to fix something, and that didn't work.
Right. Yeah.
So, Andy, what are you doing now? You said you're helping property managers?
Yeah, my company's Easy Repair Hotline. We actually work with Ray and Property Meld, and what we provide is full-service maintenance coordination. So for companies, and a lot of companies that come to us are those, you know, not big enough to hire somebody. We coordinate all their maintenance. We take the phone calls from the tenants. We do the online work orders, and it's just like hiring somebody, but it's a lot less expensive, and we just do all that coordination for them.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have a new guest here real quick. Let's introduce him. RPM Santa Barbara. Is that Steve?
Yeah, man.
Steve. Hey, Steve. How are you?
Donorovich.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can.
Yeah. Oh, you
cool.
just muted yourself.
Oh, sorry. I unmuted. Sorry.
There you go. Yes.
You can't see me, though. Sorry, I don't have a camera.
Yeah,
It's okay.
that's all right.
I was just saying, Steve, I don't know if you can see, I'm at my in-laws, so I've got a little bit of a different office setting here. It's very adventure.
Pretty rustic.
I feel very masculine being in this room.
Yeah. With a dead animal there and a fish. And...
As long as you ate it, that's okay.
Yes, no, exactly. Oh, I love venison. I love it. In jerky form, there's nothing better.
I've never tasted venison.
Really?
Never.
Man.
It's good.
It is good. It's a very lean meat, so you have to be good at making it. But it is great. Steve, do you hunt, Steve?
The flavors of the fat.
No. No, there's a specialty restaurant just north of here that they serve all kinds of game meats, and venison's one of their best ones. So.
Oh, I love it.
Well, that's the reason
I'm gonna have to try it then, I
right
guess.
now, because I'm actually eating some venison.
Right now?
Ah,
Right now, I'm having a late lunch.
nice.
Nice.
Eastern time.
See, we just get to stare at your crazy grin, and we don't get to see you eat venison. So,
Missing out.
It's very
Oh.
paleo.
yeah. We've got Michael just joined us. Michael Calhoun.
Yes, sir. How are we doing?
We're doing
I'm actually
well.
in the car. I guess I wasn't. Maybe my calendar goofed up. I don't know what it was, but I didn't know that we actually had a call. And Colin just shot me over the link. So excuse
Cool.
my tardiness, but
Welcome
I'm
to
going
the
to just
party.
drive. Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
I'm going to
Mike.
drive.
Wonder.
Hey, nice to meet you. Who do we have on the call? I see some new faces.
We've got Brian. How do you say your last name, Brian?
It's Wojcik.
Wojcik?
Wojcik, yes.
Wojcik.
Cool.
All right.
Nice to meet you, Brian.
Nice to meet you.
So, Brian, what's your company? What are you doing now?
My company is DIY Realty,
Okay.
and kind of like Andy, I got out of the property management business, and now our focus is on providing eviction case management software for property managers and independent landlords.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Cool. We'll have to
Very
do an
nice.
interview for my DoorGrow show.
That'd be great.
What
sure.
state?
So right now we're in Maryland. We're going to be launching in DC. We're piloting at DC right now. And Virginia will migrate to the Mid-Atlantic region, including Pennsylvania. And my belief is, as we understand more of the issues related to the different states, we will be able to migrate out and launch nationally. This kind of happened by accident. My original project is to provide a property management solution for do-it-yourself landlords, because one of the problems that I saw and I see consistently is many landlords become landlords by accident. They inherited a property, or they got to move overseas, and they might be upside down, and they need a way to be able to manage their property, and they often think, it's not that hard. As us experienced in the business know, there's 101 things you need to do for each property in the right sequence to keep yourself out of financial trouble and a lot of risk in terms of liability. So that's the goal, is to build this platform, and we're backing into it through the eviction case management system.
Cool stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, they start getting a few properties, and then they're kind of like, wow, this is kind of a business.
Right.
Yeah. You know what's funny is it was pointed out in the interview that I just did with the gentleman from Renter's Warehouse, Noel, and Noel pointed out that a lot of people get into property management the same way. They're like, they run a real estate brokerage, and then they kind of accidentally sort of start acquiring some management clients.
Right.
And then they realize it's not all they thought it might be, or it's not as easy, and they want to get rid of it. So he says they're a really great target market for him to acquire doors from.
It's really interesting, because one of our newest clients for the eviction case management, she said, oh yeah, I'll use your system. So she went to file because one of their tenants didn't pay rent, and one of our requirements for this local jurisdiction is you have to have your property registered with the state through the Maryland Department of Environment, and she did it, and she didn't have a lead paint certificate. So I called her up, and she was actually clueless, and she is a realtor who acquired this small, 2 or 3 properties, and she had no idea that this was a requirement, and unknowingly puts her client and herself at significant risk from a liability standpoint.
Oh yeah, it's interesting, all the liability in property management. I don't have a lot of liability in website design and internet marketing, thank goodness. So there's not too much legislation there yet either. So Well, cool. Let's get into celebrations. Who has something to celebrate? I made my list before this because I want to make sure if I was the only person here, I had something to talk about. So, but any wins recently?
Well, yeah. So these are business wins or these are personal wins?
Either one. Celebration.
Well,
It could be anything.
all right. I'm going to throw something out there.
Here's why. Because as entrepreneurs, regardless of what you're doing, entrepreneurs, we tend to focus so much on the next deal or the next hustle or the grind, and we forget to like celebrate our wins, and that becomes really self-defeating really quickly over time. And so I have to consciously make myself sit down and focus on, all right, I'm doing really well, I'm doing some things right, and focus on the wins.
Right.
And so I wanted to get people together and talk about the wins, because property management as an industry, or just being an entrepreneur in general, and maybe the two things combined, just means a lot of not feeling like you're winning a lot of the time probably. And so I think it's good for us to celebrate and to connect with other people in that way and say, hey, look, I did something right. So
That's a good point, because the only time we hear from people is when something's going wrong. So
That is the truth.
Yeah, they tend to kind of tuck that win right behind you and just keep moving, focusing on the next thing. But you're right, you got to celebrate a little bit along the way.
You got to, because psychologically, when you celebrate the win, your subconscious and everything else, it's a reward, and so it makes you more likely to keep winning. So there's a really solid benefit to celebrating your wins as opposed to just focusing on the losses and the challenges, which are really easy to still focus. So, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, cool. So you're up, Michael.
I'm up. Okay, I'll give you a couple wins. First off, I had a recent win. I'm now married 4 months to a young lady that I had been with for 4 years. She is phenomenal. I mean, that for me, that is a huge win for this year. Gorgeous, gorgeous girl.
That's a big step, man. After 4 years?
Yeah, well, I was a little reluctant. My first one didn't go so smooth.
So she finally prodded you enough that you thought you would take the risk?
Yeah, I got to tell you, she's the best thing that ever happened to me. And the next thing is we just landed a house. We bought a house here on Indian Rocks Beach in Florida, so we're right here on the beach. Stole a house, ripped it all apart, and the remodel is going. It's tough, but it is going well. Like everything's just kind of falling in place, getting deals on all the right stuff. So those are just some personal wins. Things are going well on that end of the stick. For Rent Emoji, we're having wins left and right with interest, new accounts, and what I would say right now is the two biggest wins are we had a vision of what we wanted our revenue stream to look like, and some of the mechanics of that, we needed the right partner to facilitate the transactional management, the onboarding of new clients and their transactions on the platform, and the rev share model for the rewards. For the face transaction and the behind the scenes merchant fees, we've found a partner that when we first set everything up, we said it would be ideal if it works that way. And Colin has been busting ass and just going, through vendor after vendor and relationship after relationship to try to get to what our original vision was. And just last week, week when we weren't going to be able to really make that, right when we thought we weren't going to be able to really find that relationship that fit, we actually landed one that is it's perfect. I mean, it really just kind of hit the sweet spot on what we were looking for. So for us, it was kind of like we had this huge headache. We couldn't find the right fit, and then boom, it happened. So the persistence I think that Colin had really paid off.
Yeah. I hung out with him a little bit back. Were you on that call?
Oh yeah. We did that initial call. I think Man, I was in the car then too. Every time I'm with you, every time I'm on a call with you, I'm in the car.
You need to move closer to wherever you're going all the time.
And you know what's funny is I'm never in the car.
Yeah, you just want to look like you got things to do, I think, right?
Exactly. I'm trying to look busy, like I really have stuff going on, but it's
like, crap,
Michael's
I have
been
no
driving
idea
in the
what to
parking
do.
lot. I
I'm
keep
gonna start
seeing the
driving.
same lamppost, Michael. You're not
He's
fooling
going all
anybody.
around his
the
main
same
house.
palm tree just keeps going, right past.
Yeah. So how was that call helpful?
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's totally helpful. You gave us some real insight into what people are looking for. Our focus, I think, is on a certain ideal client, but you kind of gave us the temperature, below and above what that ideal client for us is. So that we can kind of say, okay, as we're onboarding initially these ideal clients, it is wise for us to kind of allow, I guess what I would say is not lower quality, but lower volume clients onto the platform and really where their mindset is. Because it's not the same mindset of that higher level $1,000 client. I mean, they have a specific need. They have certain concerns. Their budgeting is different. Their value proposition is different. Just you took us through a lot of things on that call that was like we're dealing with certain things under our nose, but as it opens up into more a SaaS model, we really need to be the focus needs to be relevant to the conversation we had with you. So that was a great call, actually.
Cool. Thanks for the plug.
I was going to say, you should be feeling good, Jason. I want to talk to you. Whatever you said to him.
Yeah, right?
I'm switching
Jason,
headphones.
I got your check in the mail, by the way. Thanks. I just deposited that for the plug.
You guys should send me a check. Yeah, no, I hung out with them, and they just wanted me to take a look at their software and give them feedback. So
it's pretty
I just made fun of it the whole time, and they loved it. I'm just kidding. So yeah, no, it's funny because I love software. Like I'm a software junkie. Like I hung out on Skype with the CEO of Basecamp for like 90 minutes. And this guy, like, we just chatted about software and Jason Fried, you guys heard of this guy?
Yeah.
He created Basecamp. He created Ruby. He's, like, wrote all these books. So he pretty much coached me for, like, 90 minutes, and it was a game changer for my business.
Cool.
Very
cool.
He helped expose how Slack was absolutely fucking up my business. Like, it completely... like I was paying twice as much for everything in my business in terms of staffing and getting things done. Everything was like half what it should be because of Slack.
Wow.
And it was just and it became even more clear when I went Keller's One Thing. Have you guys read this book?
Mm-hmm.
So in it he talks towards the beginning he talks about the myths of multitasking. And he even has data on like interruptions. And Slack is like the most notorious, like in-your-face, constant interruption if you have Slack for your team or any sort of instant message as your main mode of communication in your team. So every time I get into a mindset of trying to work something out, some business development or map out a funnel or whatever I'm trying to do, then all of a sudden, ping, I need this. Everything's instant and urgent. There's no like pre-screen. Every single thing's instant and urgent, and it just was constant interruption. So it was really messing up my business. And I did the math, and I was like, okay, so one interruption takes me about this amount of time to get back into the house of cards that I was building before, and it takes me this amount of time to handle the interruption, and this amount of, so I calculated all this time, and I was like, it's taking like twice as long for my team members to do just about everything, and everybody was interrupting everybody all day long.
Have you read Deep Work, Jason?
No, I haven't read Deep Work, but
same thing.
I ditched Slack. So I use Basecamp, Basecamp 3, which Jason Fried was really good at convincing me to use, but it has message boards, and comment threads and notifications that I can go through later and read. And so we've made it a rule in my team that you don't ping or instant message somebody, which you can do through that platform, but you don't do it unless it's like instant, like it's urgent. Because otherwise you're just messing everything up. And so that's like the rule. It's like that's a last resort. I think I was a little too strong in that because I'm finding out my team's like afraid to message me sometimes. But yeah, anyway, that was like awesome insights. But yeah, I've hung out with the, I don't know if you guys have heard of ClickFunnels, but I'm going through their certified partner program right now, and it's going to be badass. I'm going to start offering funnels for property managers, and it's going to be killer. But anyway, with ClickFunnels, I didn't like their editor, and because it was dark and to create the pages and stuff, and so I went to their conference and I met the developer there, and I was like, you really should check out this other platform and see how they're doing it and do it like this. And then we got together on Skype, and I basically told him how I think their thing should work and why, and how it should use a light color scheme because it increases the perception of ease of use, and things like this. And so they redesigned the whole thing. He was actually in the middle of doing a redesign, and he changed everything based on what I told him. And they're launching a new editor for ClickFunnels, and I was the inspiration for it. I don't think I'll get any credit, but at least I have you guys to brag that to. So, hey John, how you doing, man?
Good.
We've got John Westrom here. John just joined in.
Hey, John.
John.
Hey, John. How you doing, buddy?
John's down in Texas.
Where at in Texas?
John.
I'm in Dallas.
Oh. Love Dallas. Go Cowboys. I can say that. I can say that here.
Cool. How's business, John?
Man. My head's gone.
Oh, you're breaking up. Nah, you're kind of choppy. Your internet connection might not be amazing where you're at. I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now.
Business is great. I'm killing it. I've had the best 3 months ever.
Yeah.
Good,
What
man.
do you attribute that to? What's going on?
I'm not involved anymore.
Got yourself out of it. That's the smartest thing ever.
That's a big step.
Yeah, and I just told and I fired, I referred out 40 properties and fired 18 owners in the last 60 days.
Did you get referral fees for those ones
And I'm
you referred
getting
out?
paid for my referrals.
Nice.
John was one of my coaching clients, and John's a badass. I have an interview that's the first. He's on my first podcast.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
So are you getting out of the property management business forever, John, or are you just getting out of some of it?
No, I'm just doing
out of
the
the
stuff I
day-to-day.
enjoy and just trying not to come in the office very much. And just Jason gave me like 4 years of work to do in like 6 weeks. So I'm still working through some of those. But no, I enjoy it. I just try to do more high-level things and strategizing and networking and brainstorming. And
Business
I got a lot of real
development.
estate. Yeah, I got some real estate brokerage stuff we do, and flipping and developing, and just ADD. So
Like most
Cool.
entrepreneurs.
yeah, so you got a bunch of new creepers on here. I don't know who these guys are.
Yeah. So their names you can mouse over and you can see their names. You can also, if you open up the blue
I'm
chat
actually
icon,
creeping around in a parking lot.
He's just driving in circles.
Yeah, like I'm really creeping right now. Literally creeping.
So yeah, a lot of these guys got out of property management or were in it one time, but a lot of these guys are vendors, like myself. So they've got different tools and stuff. Property Meld and Easy Repair Hotline, and then we've got the DIY Realty and with eviction case management software.
Correct.
I wrote it in the chat because I knew I wouldn't remember all that. And then we've got Rentmoji. Brian's a part of,
Ah,
right? And which is, I guess, a
Steve.
property management software platform. And then
I was
Steve Donarovich is down in Santa Barbara, which is gorgeous. I
That's
love it there.
God's country there.
Beautiful.
Or
Jealous.
up in Santa Barbara, maybe. Yeah, I'm the only sap still in the business in here. What's going on?
No, John's still in it.
no.
I like what John's saying. I listened to your podcast,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I reached critical mass where I'm over 100 properties now, and I need to. I'm suffering the E-myth, and I can't work on my business because I'm too busy in my business, and I need to fix that.
Yeah, creating space is a challenge. So like with coaching clients, the first thing I do, like with John, I go through and help them figure out like what really matters to them, like their purpose, their why, and then we get into also around that time creating space. You gotta create space like in your schedule to focus on business development.
Right.
So, which just
Yeah,
means not sleeping. I'm just kidding. No,
No,
there's
that's
ways
true.
of creating space
It's
and
just, I mean, I got Ray on board to help me out with some maintenance
cool.
stuff, but I need I want to get back more into the brokerage business, which is my real background, and where that's my core competency. I mean, that's what I do the best.
And your
And
wife works on that with you, right?
yeah, she does more residential stuff. The past few years I've been, just because of property management, I've done a lot of multi deals. You just because you're moving in that circle. You're moving amongst owners and what have you, and I like I really enjoy that. But one thing, a business model that I've talked about with a buddy of mine that we're thinking of partnering up. He owns a management company in San Diego. Is that we both come out of the brokerage background. I mean, I used to manage a Remax office here in town, and we both, as operators now, property management operators, we are way more competent at selling and analyzing, and and actually improving. We can talk to owners and tell them, listen, this is what you need to do. This is what your property's worth. This is what your market values are. We do a 10 times better job than any broker can. And in fact, I get calls from brokers all the time asking me what the rent should be. So it's like, and I want to say to that owner, why are you even talking to this guy? Because he's coming to me for free advice, and you're paying him a bunch of money on commission. Why don't you just come to me? And that's kind of where we're thinking ahead with this as far as the brokerage end of things goes, because we're way more competent at valuing and selling a property and dealing with tenants than any. There's a couple big guys here in town that sell lots of multifamilies on an annual basis, but they don't know crap about property management, so they're not as competent in the whole package of selling the property as we are.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I hadn't really thought of that, but yeah, what better way to become a better realtor focused on investors and
Yeah, well,
property management?
it really first happened when an owner came to me and wanted to sell, and I said, well, I'm a broker. I've been doing it for years. It's really where I come from, but I'm in a better position because she asked me advice on what broker she should hire. I said, you should hire me. I said, who knows this property better than me? I've been running it for 3 years. I know everything that's wrong with it, everything that's right with it. And I also have a very strong relationship with all the tenants. Who better to show the property? So then all of a sudden a light went on. I went, oh my God, why would you list with anyone else? And for her, it was kind of a no-brainer. We ended up selling the property for $3.4 million, and I'm still managing it. So
Nice.
nice little bonus,
I love that.
Yeah. So it's almost like a double dip,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
I will say, and there's nothing, I don't think, like, property management, I guess when I got in the space, now I'm not a historical property manager, but I will tell you, I find the business absolutely brilliant on many, many levels, and definitely from being in it from the vendor side of things, seeing a lot of the headache, but actually our investors, have now been and seen part of the space, and they're actually starting up a property management company in Baltimore, and they've been going through that process. So don't think you're on the wrong end, Steve. I think there's absolutely a a lot of money still to be made in this space, especially with, I mean, rents and what the millennials are doing as far as home purchasings and stuff. It's such an awesome space to be in right now, I think.
No, I agree. Yeah, that's why we're staying. I mean, I think the millennials aren't buying, and it looks like they're going to be renting. I mean, they don't really look at a 30-year chunk of time.
Right.
From a career perspective, they look at about 3 to 5 years chunks of time, so they can't really relate to what a mortgage is. So they don't buy, you know.
Right.
Cool. So let's get into some wins and celebrations. Again, who else has a celebration or a win this week or the last several months or whatever they want to share?
We're bringing. We've had a great month. Property Meld, from a software side of things and even the full service end of things. August has been a killer month for us. For whatever reason, we're starting to get some name brand attraction and things like that. But we closed a larger single-family company in Virginia, Dodson Property Management. They're about 1,250 single-family. They've got about 2,400 multifamily that we basically came to agreement to, and we've been piloting them for a while, and so we're actually getting that client all their units. So really excited about that. Awesome. And then Badass Cass, we're going live today
Cool.
in 18 minutes. So I think she's one of your clients too, Jason, isn't she?
She's like got a kudo service. But,
okay, I've seen her on DoorGrow before.
Yeah, we did an event together, and she's cool. I like Cass.
Yeah, she's very cool. But yes,
I'm the
good
one
wins
that gave
for
her the nickname Badass Cass.
I know you did.
It's kind
I know
of
she's
stuck
like
because it's so fitting. But I'm a branding guy. That's what I do. I had to brand that.
She told me that. I said, yeah, Badass Cass. She's like, you know what? Literally nobody called me that before Jason did on our little podcast. So now I started calling her Badass Cass, and I think it is stuck. I think you did it.
So that's so funny because it fits her really well, and I don't know why anyone didn't think of it sooner. So she's just really kind of a I'm gonna punch you in the face kind of gal. Not that she's mean, but she's a spitfire, and she's
Absolutely.
an entrepreneur through and through, and she hustles. She came from the auto industry, so her interview was. I don't know if you guys heard the podcast, but she's pretty interesting because she came into the industry not like. She didn't have all the. It's just she had such a different perspective, and nobody told her how or showed her how to do property management. She came from selling cars to doing property management, so she just did stuff differently. It was interesting. So, all right, cool. So Property Mill's doing good, and you attribute that boost in August to.
You know, I don't know if it's starting to slow down and people are starting to really think, all right, some of these solutions that we've been kind of hanging with, but I mean, there's some of the bigger ones that we've been working with, but the multifamily side as well, we've started to get our foot in the door, which we're pretty excited about. But I don't know what it is. I wish I did know.
I think you're being modest, Ray. all that hard work. I remember when you were here, man. All those drives to Virginia, back and forth. I mean,
that's true. That's true. I did hustle Virginia pretty hard.
Yeah. What is the name again? Property what?
Property Meld.
Meld. M-E-L-D.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little creeping on who this guy is.
Yeah, check us out, John.
I've got a couple of interviews coming out on my podcast eventually, but he's on that
maintenance software.
Yeah, so we
check the DoorGrow channel on YouTube. But he's paired up with Andy here, who has the call center, and so the two of them combined create this. It's like Voltron.
I was on their website
or
a couple days ago.
Thundercats, and Easy Repair Hotline and Property Meld merge forces to create the ultimate combo to just offhand all of your maintenance stuff.
Oh my
Sounds really cool.
It's Voltron. Or the Supercats. I'll have to remember that.
Thundercats.
Thundercats. That's what it is.
They combined. I know Voltron did. I don't remember. Thundercats were really old school.
That's hilarious. Captain. It's kind of like Captain Planet, but less tights.
It was bad. Really bad quality. So, all right, cool. I'm gonna share my wins. Unless somebody else has something. Who's hot? Anyone?
Go ahead. I'd like to hear it.
All right, all right. Here's my wins. So, DoorGrow Club, we've already got 156 members. We get about, it seems like we get about 2 or 3 a day, but then we have a few that kind of like get out of it because I think they just don't. I think the system sends notifications. They're either into it or they're not. I recommend you get it on your phone. Like it's always prompting you to download the app because then it's not sending you the emails, I think. So, yeah, so we got over 150 members in there, and the quality of people there is fantastic. And I'm hoping that that kind of feels more like a community and grows along with the podcast. I think the two of them will go together nicely. So, and then my newsletter signups, I started this towards the beginning of the summer, maybe a little bit before that. We finally broke 500 subscribers, which
Wow.
getting the first several is really challenging, so I'm really excited about that. We've got 500 subscribers.
It's awesome.
And I've learned some things along the way. So I think I have on the list probably like between 700 to 900 people, but there's unsubscribes. And I was really aggressive about getting unsubscribes, maybe too aggressive. I put like every email had a message at the bottom pretty much that said, if you don't want to grow your property management business, then please unsubscribe. So, and then I realized that my system was sending out, it was linked to my RSS feed for my blog, and it was sending out all these emails, but the feed was broken for some reason, the email, so I was sending out these blank emails. It took me a while to realize it, and I was like, I wonder how many subscribers I lost from that. Probably quite a few. It looked pretty lame, so I fixed it, and I set it to send not every time a blog post is published, like it goes out once a week, and it'll show the previous 5 or something like that. So hopefully it's a little less annoying. I got one email from somebody. Nobody told me about the broken emails. Nobody, like, my wife was like, you've got like 500 subscribers and nobody told you that it was broken? I was like, yeah, nobody told me it was broken. Maybe they're not reading it. I don't know. I have like a 50% like reader open rate though. Like it's really high, which is crazy high. So, but nobody wanted to tell me. How lazy are people? I don't know. I'm like,
No telling.
I know. So, but anyway, so that's going well. I launched my podcast, which is huge. That took, if you guys, I don't know if you guys have ever tried podcasting, but it takes a lot of learning. I did a lot of research. It took a lot of work to figure it out. I learned about editing, distribution, getting it into Libsyn and iTunes, and it's just, like it was, I thought it would be a lot easier than it was, and it took a lot of energy and effort, and even editing a single episode takes a good amount of time, especially my earliest ones. So it's going to get better over time, because my earliest ones, like my interview with like Michael Montero of Buildium, I was terrible. Like I didn't even know what I was doing. I was nervous. His internet went down like during it, like. And I'm surprised he put up with me. So it was, but anyway, the podcast got launched and it's going, and we're already showing up for the phrase property management in iTunes. On my phone, it's like the second one that shows up, which is fantastic.
Nice.
On the computer, for some reason, I'm like number 8, but I'm expecting to outproduce all of my competitors in that space. So we'll see how that goes. And then we launched, I created this seed package, which is badass for property managers. John kind of went through it. And so, and I'm even getting feedback from clients that are getting some great results. So it's kind of like some of the stuff I did in coaching, but I kind of squeezed it into a package that doesn't take my time. And so that created a lot more space for me, time-wise. And so we've got we created our second seed site style, which is a win for us. We're starting to compete with PMW in that space. We're the top organic link, I just found out, for property management website design on Google. DoorGrow is. and I created the brand a year ago in November. So I guess that's almost 2 years.
Wow.
So
Right.
we're the second organic link for property management websites. So I'm hoping that we outrank our big competitor there. And I redesigned the homepage of DoorGrow just recently, and we've got this DoorGrow club thing going too, which is cool. So that's the stuff. That's my wins. So like, it sounds like a pretty good list when I say it out loud.
It's a lot.
It is a good list.
Awesome, man.
All right, who's next? Wins. John, what's your wins lately?
Yeah, so you know, I've been pretty happy with you know, really seeing the fruits of some of my work I did a few months ago with you, my websites and my sales talks language and all that stuff, and so literally, I mean, our numbers are double what they were a year ago, and
What
and
numbers?
I'm working less hours. So and because of that, I'm actually able to, you know, to do some different things, which is it's just kind of weird talking about yourself and bragging in front of a bunch of strangers.
No, you got. This is why we're here. This is celebration time. You missed it at the beginning, but you got to celebrate because it increases the likelihood that you're going to keep winning.
Yeah.
Psychologically.
So, I mean, literally, August is the highest income, you know, globally in all my companies combined that I've ever had in my career. And
Wow.
I just was like, holy cow. So, and my quality of life is changing. So I wake up by a pool and
Oh, you froze. John, you still
No,
with us?
he was getting a good spot. He was getting to the
think
good stuff.
He's like, I wake up. John, we lost you. If you can hear us, try refreshing your page there, or tell everybody to get
yeah,
off
somebody's
Netflix.
calling.
Okay. Oh,
Oh,
he
they're
was.
calling on your phone?
Dang
So,
it.
can you see me? Hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear you. See you.
So,
Yep.
so anyway,
You
just
said you wake up and then,
I'm waking up and I'm drinking coffee and I'm by my pool and I got a land and I have a view and a pond and I'm a rancher now and it's awesome. I don't
Good
even.
for you, man.
I love it.
Still, my favorite place to go was work, and it's no longer that. Like I like to hang out at my house and look at my animals.
I love it.
So,
I love
mean,
it.
It's great. So that's just what's. I just really just am happy and just doing more virtual stuff. I need to figure out about all these people who can do more stuff for me, like Meld and Mojo and all those people.
So, John, I want to hear specifics. So tell me about, you said you threw out like double and whatever, like what's going on, like
Number wise.
in the business? Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, like, property management was just a little side business for me, and so we'd bring in like 20 grand a month, or you know, I mean, it started off at 8 grand and 10 grand in commissions, and
Yeah.
I worked, and then it went to 20, and I thought I was just great, and then it went to 25, and it went to great, and I mean, I'm the last 3 months I've been knocking at 50 just on property
Wow.
Oh
management.
my gosh.
Wow.
Damn it.
So
Awesome.
that's more than double.
Yeah,
Jeez,
so
man.
Like, I mean, it's 43, 47, 44. I'm just like insane to me. Like, I mean, and then on top of that, because I'm actually doing less, I mean, I did 70 grand, 75 grand in just my own real estate commissions this month.
Wow.
I mean, I was just like, what the fuck? I used to work all year for that.
Oh my gosh.
John, I'm gonna hang it up and I'm gonna come work for you. It
Yeah,
sounds like
I
you've
was
got the
thinking
right
the same
formula.
thing.
And it's just and it's just a combination of a lot of little things going right, and having good people around you. I'm paying my staff more than I ever have, but you know, and I'm just like, man, I'm just pinching myself. So I bought a new house. You know, my wife's, I think, happy. So
Hey, and like I said at the preface to the interview, your wife said I made you a better man. So,
there's no doubt.
so as
So
long as you haven't been screwing it up,
no, I know.
I think
So,
it sounds like she's pretty pleased with you.
so far, so those are good. So I'm just happy in a good spot, and I just want to like, what do I do? Just trying to make the business better, and just having fun. So
That's awesome.
You're
Congrats.
living it, man. You're living it.
yeah, busy.
Hopefully,
and fun.
maybe by next year, I'm saying my celebration sounds like John's
Yeah.
doing that. Yeah.
And listen, there's a lot of months where my total gross income like was $3,000. So I mean, really, I've been a broke bitch so before.
Yeah.
So,
Me
so
too.
it's I feel blessed.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations,
Fantastic.
John.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm still
John, how many doors do you have?
We have about 275.
Nice.
So,
So since you and I started working together, that is 55 additional doors.
my biggest problem is fulfillment. Like, I am
Yeah.
scared if somebody calls me and asks me to take on new properties. Like, and you know, that's kind of where we left off, Jason. But
And is that mostly the maintenance side?
no, fulfillment on onboarding new owners. I can't take them on fast enough.
Oh, really? Just
Now, I'm getting rid of a lot of them. So, you know, that's why the income's going up. So, I mean, I got rid of like 18 or 20 owners in the last month.
what takes most of the
added
time
12 good ones.
when onboarding them? Just showing the properties and what? What is it?
My biggest kryptonite right now is no standard operation procedures. So no good Asana or base camp in place, you know, that just really is functional, that's, you know, transcommunicating everybody across the board. So I go out and, you know, I get the deal, and then I just kind of dump it on them and tell them to implement it, and, you know, and it kind of sometimes happens half-assed. So I'm slowing it down so I can keep good, you know, customer service. But I mean, literally, I'm paying $150 a month for my funnel stuff, or it's not even funnels, whatever it is. It's these softwares you got me on, and I'm scared to like actually implement it. I'm not blogging. I'm not doing anything to do organic growth. I'm afraid somebody's going to call me. Jason, I clicked on my website the other day because, you know, you have those people that you know, they just go to my website and say, give me more info.
Yeah.
And there was 12 of them I haven't even gotten back to.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
And we
John,
were just,
I want this problem.
yeah. And that's with no marketing. So that's bad.
That's
It's like,
a
when he
great problem.
He finally called me yesterday, and he's
You
like,
just need to
"Yeah."
raise your rates so high that you can just take them on as slow as you want to.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
He's
So,
like
I'm
twice
happy
as
it's
much as
good.
everyone else in his market.
So,
That's
and I'm
funny.
so happy you got this group, man. We need to make this work, because this is really what everyone does. Because there's so many rules about being in NARPM and what you can talk about.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk fees because that's still I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But we can talk about a lot of stuff. We just can't
Yeah.
talk specific like fee amounts because then it's
Yeah.
collusion. So in fact, somebody posted the other day in there and mentioned, what are you guys charging for lease-up fees? And so I just pasted the page from NARPM's ethics page, like right in there. I'm like, I don't think you're gonna get many responses because of this. So, and it's like antitrust law, blah blah blah. Yeah. So I think I wanted to prevent anyone else from like throwing out numbers and getting anyone in trouble. So cool. I think we just had Timmy. Is that you? Somebody joined from Smart Property Systems, and I'm guessing it's Timmy. But we don't hear you or see you, so maybe she's lurking. I don't know. But cool, John. It's fantastic to hear. It's me, but she's putting in the chat. It's fantastic to hear that. I'm gonna have to do a follow-up podcast or something. Plugged all that in there somehow. So
Yeah, I'll do it, but you got to barter me out and give me a new video for my website. That stuff's terrible.
yeah, I just need to interview you, and so you answer the questions because it's funny because I asked that question in the DoorGrow club today because I was thinking about doing this because I thought I wonder if anyone will show up because maybe people are afraid of being on camera. But it's funny, you put a camera on people, and I did this. In my first several videos, they were so bad. I don't know if I have YouTube links for those, but they're really terrible. And I had like 100 ums and so's and stuff like this, all these filler words, and it was really bad. And it was really awkward, right? But then when you talk to a human being, if it's normal, right? It's not so bad. So yeah, but yeah, the video, you got to make a few awkward videos before you ever get a decent one. So.
Yeah.
Or you can do like maybe one of those animated ones or something. Those work pretty
No,
nice.
no. So,
Yeah, I did a promotional video for my beta product right now, and I thought, oh, give me a day, I'll do it. It ended up taking me a week, like 80 hours. It was crazy. I don't know if I ever want to do that again.
Yeah, my first video, I probably did like, it took me an entire day. I probably did like 30 takes for this like 2 minutes. It was ridiculous. And I was like, oh, like you watch yourself and you hate yourself.
Yeah,
Like
you're
you
too
watch
hard on
yourself
yourself.
and you just hate yourself at first because you're awkward, but like you have to start making awkward videos if you want to get to making good ones.
Yep.
You just keep doing it.
But
And then eventually something changes and you're
Jason,
not so annoying.
you know the whole reason that I'm even on this thing was because of just a raw cell phone selfie video you posted on LinkedIn, and it was just you being you, and
When?
it was,
Today?
no, this was like last fall when I came across who you were.
I'm crying on Facebook today. I dropped my daughters off. I had mentioned at the beginning, and I was like trying to, talk about it and what I realized, But I was like, whoa. Yeah.
But the whole professional trying to be like sit at your desk and like when I watch and I don't know, like some of these social media people tell me I need to do video marketing, and I go watch them and they're sitting at a desk with the white behind them and they're talking. It's so terrible, yeah. I mean, I'm just like, and then when I've seen your videos, you're just walking around with your phone, and I see your pictures in your background. You're like, hey, it's Jason. You suck. You suck at this. You suck at this.
Wait. Is that like a direct quote?
Yeah, that is exactly what you said.
You
And you
suck.
know, yeah, your property management sucks. Your cycle of suck, buckets leaking. And I mean, and I was like, that resonated with me because that was real. And I promise that's what my
funny.
video is going to be on my new
He's
webpage.
talking about this funnel that I created. It was like one of my first sales funnels I created. I was like, I want to get coaching clients. And, but doing coaching, I loved doing coaching, but I'm not doing it right now. And I want to do more of it, and because I love it. It's really rewarding. Like hearing John talk about this stuff, like his results is like, I'm like, yeah, I love it. But it takes way too much of my time. It takes so much time. Like I got on I think I could handle like maybe 5 coaching clients at a time, and I didn't have time to focus on sales for my agency, and because they took so much time, like total probably 2 hours a week per client, and that's like 10 hours a week, right? You can't scale that like that, right? So that's why I created the seed package and some info product stuff, and I'm working towards doing that, and then I'll have.
But the real, when you were being, and this we did it, the real, raw, and relevant data right on the front is very refreshing and different, and
so much bullshit.
I know. Even when I go to some of these,
Even my competitors, no offense, whoever you are, I'm not stating names, but there's so much bullshit, and I listen to them, I'm like, how do you sleep at night selling people on this? Like, if you have testimonial videos of somebody saying you put up their new website and they got amazing organic placement as if they had anything to do with it because they put up a website, when SEO, like 90% of it happens outside of the site, and they're taking credit and putting it up because they know that's what people want. I'm like, and then like pushing like content marketing as if that's SEO, and these kind of things just drive me nuts. I'm like, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. One of my vendors, I just did committed a bunch of virtual stuff to. He just told me, hey, oh, by the way, just let me tell you right up front, we're human. We make mistakes and we suck sometimes, but you're gonna like us, and you're gonna like us. And I was going, okay.
That's great. Who told you that?
Todd Breen at Virtual, incredible.
Oh yeah, he's a cool guy. I like
He's
Todd.
not even involved, but he's just like, yeah.
Actually, Todd's a
Everybody
good
knows
dude.
Todd.
Yeah, he's part of my mastermind.
Oh, Todd's great. I make fun of him all the time, but to his face. But his staff and stuff are good.
What's this mastermind? I already feel left out. You just said mastermind with Todd Breen.
Yeah.
And that's you.
Yeah, I run a mastermind called boardofadvisors.com every quarter. So every 90 days, guys like Colin and Todd Breen and Polano, RJ or Rob Polano, bunch of guys. Jason Medley, I don't know, you guys might know him. But it's all these high-performing entrepreneurs, CEOs, all different types of businesses, though. It's not just real estate or property management. It's the best of the best in all different niches. And people travel from all over the country, and some of them are coming from even Israel and other places in the world. And we look at each other's business and figure out how we can together make it better. And we do deals and all kinds of stuff between each other. So Todd actually joined in the spring, and I think we knocked his socks off. He started bringing some of his other, strategic partners, if you will, and we get in there, we love on each other, and we kick some ass.
Nice. Yeah, I need a good mastermind group going.
Michael must be halfway to California by now, didn't you?
I know. Are you still driving?
I'm back on the same parking lot.
Yeah, just doing the loop.
No,
Hey,
actually, I had some
Michael,
guys
are you
doing a renovation.
homeless? Michael,
I just drive this fancy ass car around, but I really have no home to park it in.
That's what you call living the dream, Michael. That's
Yes.
living the dream, partner.
That's the real American dream.
Actually, I was just dropping
Nice
off a bunch
car,
of
no
materials to one of our houses. So keeping these guys moving. You know how it is on Friday. If you show up at 4:30 and get a few extra things to knock out, they'll stay until 6. Otherwise, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think about the time for this? I
Like, you
figured
mean
Fridays
on a
would be
Friday?
a good time because Friday I've noticed that's when I get the most appointment flakes. Like people get trunky for the week, and I figured Friday would be the best day to do anything like this, where we're just hanging out.
I think it's great because Jason, I kind of set this as my own little internal alarm clock, try to get everything done, and in all reality, I plan to have actually been on this call having a cold beverage, but after I'm done with this, I'm done today. So I think the timing's great. It's a good finisher.
Cool. So,
I could use a cold beverage, but I'm driving, so that wouldn't look good on video.
You just turn that video off, Michael. Just turn that video off.
Exactly.
how many
I'll
people can
put it in my
here?
Starbucks bottle.
There you go.
8 week. I think
Hey,
we can
Michael,
have
we
10
actually-
people.
Yeah, Michael, we actually met. I was on a call with you and Colin a while back.
Is this Ray?
Yeah, I thought your voice sounded familiar.
Yeah. We had a great call actually. Who introed us? Somebody connected us.
I had originally talked to Colin first. I think Colin was the one that put us together. Colin reached out probably about a month ago.
Okay, I told Colin to reach out to you.
Hey, so
Yeah,
Jason is
that's
the
what I was
catalyst.
gonna say. Yeah, I think Jason connected you with us originally, right?
Jason makes the 3 degrees of separation possible because he at some point has connected somebody who's connected somebody.
How do I turn just connecting people into money? That's the question.
Hey, you can monetize anything, Jason.
Pyramid
Awesome.
scheme.
I'll need to mastermind with you on that, Ray.
Hey, there you
I
go.
have to tell you, it is Friday evening. I am on Gulf Boulevard. The beach is right there, and it is interesting. I'm driving, of course, but they are walking, and it is distracting.
Yeah, right. The ladies are walking, and it's
Yeah.
hot enough that they don't want to wear much.
Yeah. Okay, so
We do have one lady here. Timmy's a lurker.
I
She
said it
can't.
was distracting. It could have been very large dogs. It could have
Oh,
been
okay.
very, yeah,
Right,
strollers,
right.
joggers. I didn't say what it was. You
Could have
had
been
your mind
dudes
in the
in
gutter.
skimpy bikinis, for all we know. But you did
There,
say you're married,
I,
but
I see one of those now.
you said she. I'm pretty sure.
Ah,
So, well, cool. Yeah, Timmy's making little comments in the chat. Can you guys see the chat? You got to click the little blue box top left.
We can see the cloud pop up. At least I can.
Oh yeah, it'll
Yeah.
pop up if you don't have the chat open. So, yeah, cool. Well, yeah, I think it's fun to get companies connected that I see there's a natural fit. Like I've been trying to get Crowdcast and like ClickFunnels connected because a lot of the ClickFunnels dudes are real. Those marketers and the people in my partners group are really into doing webinars a lot of times, and I do those. And Crowdcast, I get like a 50% or higher turnout rate on any of my events, whereas like using GoToWebinar, which most people are using in that, in the internet marketing industry, get like 25% if you're lucky. Turnout rate. So you spend all this time and energy and money to get them to register for an event, and then you get 25%, and they think that's amazing. And I'm not even trying, and you get like 50% or higher. So Crowdcast is just so easy for people to get into. So I love connecting different softwares together. So Timmy, I got you talking to Property Meld, and I didn't connect you, Andy, but you guys found each other somehow. And
We
then,
talked, absolutely.
but
Yeah, Andy was the mastermind behind our Super Cats captain.
Super
He
Cats.
found us.
What is a Super Cats? You're like making up new
Captain
stuff
Planet.
now.
Captain Planet product.
Voltron. The Voltron combination. Or if you're like my kids, they're into Steven Universe. I don't know if you guys have seen that show, but I'm really into music. I love Steven Universe. So it's got great music. In fact, I've got my guitar right here in my office, just hanging out.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Jason. There's
I'm
no
not-
campfire.
I'm not
There's
gonna
no.
no kumbaya. Bust out the tunes.
But I'll be honest, Jason. I do got a roll, man. But
Yeah,
I really enjoyed this. I'd love to participate in more of these. Just keep hitting me up, and I'd love to join in and kind of share on everybody's success and kind of hear about what's going on in the
Yeah,
industry.
we've been doing this for a while, so yeah, we probably just should end it eventually, right? But for me, it's Friday. It's party time. So
Friday.
Yep, it's
I'm
Friday.
happy to guess.
Cue, what's her name? The Rebecca gal. Friday. And we'll have it.
No. Well, it was good talking to everybody. Steve, it's good hearing from you. Andy, Brian,
We'll do this every Friday, dude. We'll do this.
Timmy.
Yeah, we're gonna have. I'll put it up in the DoorGrow Club. We'll do something like this each Friday, and we'll just. I'll see if I can pick something interesting to chat about. But who didn't share any celebrations? Who's hot?
I think it's a share any.
Go, Brian. You're on.
So I embarked on this project to create a organization to help do-it-yourself landlords. And we've grown now, without any marketing efforts, we've grown to 145 members.
Something's going right. And these are 145 like property management companies.
So this is a combination of do-it-yourself landlords and property managers.
Okay.
More of the previous than property managers.
Got it.
The goal of the organization, really, it's my way of giving back. As I started at the outset of the call, I saw a lot of things in the industry that were missing.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these people who can't use a property manager, who need to do it themselves, to give them some guidance and to give them some direction and help them avoid some of the pitfalls and mistakes. But also, too, there's something very interesting happening here locally in the Baltimore, Maryland area with real estate Baltimore is one of these cities that has, a lot of Section 8 housing, things like that. And there was a law that was almost passed last year, and it's been turned into, it's been postponed and put into summer study session for review. And basically what it meant, what it had done was forced landlords to take more of the cost burden in the event that there is an eviction in the rent court system. And it's really, I think, jazzed up a lot of landlords to say, wait a second, this is just taking things way too far.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, I think we're starting to, really impact what is going to happen within the industry.
Cool. So you've got some great growth already starting, just organically.
Just organically, and I think
that's a great win. I mean, that's kind of proof of concept, right? Something's going right so far.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that because it's a way to give back to the community, and who knows what it'll lead to. But it actually has led to 3 speaking engagements. So that's pretty cool. And then from there. Just celebrating some personal success. Girlfriend and I are moving in together.
Cool.
And that's pretty awesome. So things are going well with the new business. I'm actually submitting an application to get some. There's a quasi state and local business private partnership for new tech startups. And I'll be submitting an application. I've been given the nod by a few people who are kind of insiders to say, yeah, you're ready.
Yeah.
Taking a year of preparation to get all that going. So yeah, good times, exciting stuff.
Awesome, great. Well, it's good to meet you, Brian.
You too. And I definitely want to connect with you outside, offline. Had some things to say. I'd like to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'm easy to find. So. DoorGrow.com or just find me on Facebook. I'm pretty much on every social media channel as King Jason Hull, Hull. So Facebook.com/King Jason Hull, Twitter King Jason Hull, wherever, Crowdcast. So makes it easier. I'm working on the YouTube. They're weird about channel names. They only let you have your first name as the beginning of it. So I'm trying to see if they'll let me have something else, but cool. Steve, did you want to share a win?
I thought I did.
Did you?
No, I just my business model changing, which actually we're meeting Tuesday. I don't know if you realize that.
Okay, cool.
A quick chat, and I want to talk more about that because that's what you did for John, not necessarily as coaching, but what you did for John to help him. Like I said earlier, I want to get out of my business so I can do more in my business or something like that.
That was the
coaching. If that makes sense.
That was the coaching. See, John wasn't ready to focus. The problem, if you realize, you'll hear this at the beginning of that podcast, like I put his quote from the middle of the interview at the beginning of the podcast is like
he was mad at you. He said he hated you.
Yeah, he didn't like me at the beginning because he's like, I want to focus on the business. I want to do this. He had just come out of this Tony Robbins coaching and he wanted, so I was like, okay, we're going to do this my way and we're going to focus on all this other stuff. And I asked him all these really deep kind of personal questions and stuff, and we focused on a lot of other stuff before we got to his property management business, because all that stuff that we focused on was really what changed everything in his business.
Right.
So I helped him get his own personal sort of mission statement defined as to what his purpose is. And when he got that clarity on his own purpose, really what makes him happy when he's in line with doing what he should be doing, everything else started to kind of fall in place. His whole perspective changed on everything, and it changed how he sold. It changed how he talked to people. It changed how he dealt with his relationships and his family. And we started with a lot of that during that first month. And then I just gave him access to some videos on how to sell, some sales training stuff, and some follow-up, gave him stuff to work on. Like I had him meditating, I had him drinking green smoothies, I had
I
him
already
doing
do that.
exercise, I had him what else did I have this guy doing? I had him like do like text messages, each morning to his wife. Like he had a lot of stuff to do. What did he say today? He said I gave him 5 years, 6 years of
Yeah.
stuff in like
Yeah.
a month
Months or
to
something,
work
yeah.
on. Yeah, he's still got stuff to work on. So I guess. So, but yeah. So a lot of that I got from my, the coaching stuff that I had been through. Like I firmly believe that entrepreneurs, we have this massive blind spot that we create around ourselves. The challenge is, even if we have a sizable team, we become king of the shitheads. And this is kind of what I described in the video that like convinced John that he saw on LinkedIn. But we become king of the shitheads because everybody on our team just says yes to us.
Right.
Which is your boss. They're not going to challenge you. Nobody really challenges you. And if you're not challenged, then your blind spots become your entire company's blind spots, and then there's challenges throughout the whole organization, and you really
You're talking about one of my favorite words, sycophants.
Sycophants.
Sycophants are people that will tell you that you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's kind of
Right. Like the story of the emperor's new clothes.
Right, exactly. It's a narcissist surrounds themselves, and we all have our different levels of narcissism, but we like to surround ourselves with people who tell us what we want to hear, and no one's willing to tell us what we don't want to hear, and when they do, if it gets too far down the rabbit hole, then there's this massive explosion kind of thing.
Right, you're a naked emperor walking down the street.
Exactly.
Right, yeah. So my wife, she's pretty open with me, right? But I've also noticed in the property management industry, I've noticed that a lot of really successful property management business owners, I've noticed they're in pairs. There's a really common thread I've noticed. You can see it in RPM, in your franchise. You can see it in, like my brother and Kyle. They've done really well.
Right.
Not this like abnormally well compared to the solopreneurs that get a franchise and get into it, right? The Bachelor brothers, they've done really well.
That's right.
The Kattenberg brothers, they've done really well. Now, running a business with somebody else and your equals, can be really ugly and really painful too. It can be really difficult. It's like a marriage, right? If it's good, it's great. And so, but the advantage that they have is that I think that eventually when you have a business partner, you both work yourself into kind of a groupthink and into a common blind spot, but it takes a lot longer to get there than it does if you're a solopreneur. It happens really quickly, right? Because it's you. But if you have a second person that's challenging your ideas and challenging your thinking. Now, my wife is involved in the business somewhat, right? But she really is taking care of kids, and she just started homeschooling, and she gets involved before that she was PTA president. Like, she gets really involved in stuff. She's not really focused on the business. That's my area. And I've worked myself into where I just felt really stuck. And it's happened several times where I felt really stuck. I'm like, this is not working. This is not sustainable. I'm burning the candle at both ends. I don't like my clients. I was at this point, I remember, where I didn't like my clients. I realized I didn't like my team, things like this. And so I started changing everything. I got clear on my why and my purpose and what I wanted. And then I fired like half my team, and I kept the ones that I thought were aligned with my values. And so I went through this whole process. But some of my biggest changes came as a result of either trainings from like courses, things like this that had to do with sales or mindset or different things that I struggled with, or getting coaches. So like I went through Garrett J. White's program at Wake Up Warrior. I worked with Satema Gali Jr. He was a former Patriot NFL champion.
Right.
I worked with him. And a lot of the conversations and a lot of things that I learned, they weren't focused like just on business. I think the problem is that as business owners, the problem's never that we're focused too little on business. It's everything else that's causing us not to be winning the way we want to in business. It's everything else. It's your body, it's your spirituality, and your purpose. I was listening to Grant Cardone this morning, live on Facebook, and he was talking about how he feels like the whole market's going to collapse, things are going to get ugly, saying cash out of your stock, cash out of everything, don't buy real estate. And he was talking about, and people are like, what should you invest in? And he says, you should be investing in yourself. Now, obviously, he has an incentive because he sells a lot of info products and books and stuff like that. But he's saying you need to invest in yourself. And he talked a lot, mostly almost, it sounded like fitness. Like you need to invest in yourself because you don't have time to be down. You don't have time for your back to be out or your knee to be hurting or you to not be able to think clearly. Especially if the market gets ugly, you need to have invested in yourself and be able to think clearly, have ideas, know what to do, be physically able to do stuff. So
that's a good point. I mean, I've always felt that way. I mean, we've kind of become a society of victims, and where it's promoted on us all the time, and it's really, I mean, it's, not to get political, but the current administration is really, it's a progressive idea to make everybody dependent, and they always vote for you. It's as simple as that.
Sure.
So now we have this whole society of people that are led to believe that they're victims rather than saying, hey, you need to be self-reliant. You got to get, you got to. If you're going to rely on the government for the rest of your life as opposed to yourself, you're in big trouble. And that's really where we're kind of headed right now. And it's kind of, and that's why I think this political season is so derisive. I mean, you have, we need to help everybody group, and then we have the other group going, screw you, we don't need any help, leave us alone. And that's
right.
and then there's this clash, But
yeah.
but I do
It's funny,
think
I took a poll on that. Did you see the poll?
No.
I took a poll in the DoorGrow Club. I put out a poll and I said, I think the question was who would have friendlier policy towards property managers versus renters, and almost everybody voted Trump. People said, I don't. Some people had their disclaimer, but they still said they think, Trump would be more supportive towards, the agenda of property managers. So,
I sort of agree with that because I live in California, and California's, in Massachusetts, where I'm originally from.
Yeah.
The tenancy laws are so ridiculously difficult for landlords.
Mm.
I mean, you were just talking about, you've got what's his name? He's still here. Legally in California to do what he does here would be, I bet, a lot harder.
Everything's harder legally in California.
You evict somebody, you have to actually store their stuff for 30 days, and you have to pay for it. I mean, you go to Texas, conversely, and you show up with a shotgun and say, "Get out!" You get 10 seconds.
Yeah, or Idaho.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that.
You have to have a license, I think, to do property management.
Right, exactly. The disparity is amazing. But anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. But
So we were talking about John, and we were talking about. I was pointing out that everybody wants to focus on the business and do business stuff, which that's what I do a lot of. I help people out with that. But if you really want to get results, what really helps is to have an outside perspective to challenge your thinking.
That's true, and you're right. I mean, I do have my wife helping me, but she's really in the residential real estate business and doesn't. Yeah. She helps me a little bit with property management, but she doesn't want to, and I don't blame her, frankly. But it's not her cup of tea. But it does. I kind of refer a lot of sales to her, except for the. And then when we do like a commercial deal, like I was talking about earlier, we did that together, and that's hugely helpful.
Yeah.
But she doesn't really
do you
want
still
to
use Propertyware, or did you switch over to AppFolio?
We switched. I switched to AppFolio. In fact, I switched to AppFolio.
Oh yeah, you switched before. You were one of the first to
switch.
Right,
and then they made me switch to Propertyware, right? They made me switch to Propertyware, and I was totally bull about that. I said, "This is." Because I knew it was a better product. It wasn't quite a better product.
And then they switched to AppFolio.
It's funny. The other day I got an email from someone saying, we want to talk to you about the implementation of AppFolio. I said, I've been back.
They were probably afraid to talk to you because they forced you to switch to Propertyware, but they pushed like everybody's been switching in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
franchise to Appfolio. And,
Which I think is a good thing, and now they're trying to tell me that they've gotten Outfolio to do a bunch of stuff specifically for RPM, which I don't know,
I
but
don't know how long they'll stick with Appfolio. It'll be
I had used
crazy to
both of
see.
those. I had switched originally from Propertyware. That was what I started with, and then I switched to Folio. And then when I sold the business, I just obviously don't use either of them now. But it was interesting what you were saying, Jason. I think that's what happened to me last year when I decided to sell the business. It's about yourself, and I think often an entrepreneur's business
Sterling.
in many ways an extension of themselves, and the values that the business holds is an extension of their own values. And the reality is, for me, what I realized was at the point when I was unhappy,
Mm.
I definitely was missing what I needed to be fulfilled, and that was my creative outlet.
Yeah.
And that creative outlet, I just wasn't able to be creative anymore with property management business. It required, it was just wash, rinse, repeat. And because it was wash, rinse, repeat, I had built the system, and it became boring, and I wasn't fulfilled anymore, and that's why I got into the software space. So it really goes back to what's important to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I get it. I remember waking up. So I saw Simon Sinek's video. This guy wrote the book Start With Why. Is it on my
Oh
desk
yeah,
right now?
great. That's a classic
And
video.
I saw his TED Talk that went viral, right?
Right.
And then like I was like, so I sat down. I watched it several times, and I sat down and I was like, I need to figure out more about this. And I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and I was like, I'm gonna map out my values because I have a very strong set of values, and so I mapped them all out. I created this mind map, and then I looked at these values and I figured out what's my purpose. And I knew, like I'd done this internal work before, so I mapped out my why statement, and I have my own formula for helping clients come up with their why statement and what it should look like and anyway, I came up with this, and then I presented to my team, and then I started firing people and but yeah, so it changed the whole direction for me, because I remember waking up like, babe, I'm watching Netflix today, I'm done like clicking the mouse and doing stuff for clients today, right? And so knowing what you want is just a big deal. When you know what you want and you communicate that, then you start to attract the people that you actually want, and you're polarizing because you're going to make people that don't want to work with you, like there's people that won't like me. That's okay. So, but yeah, I love it. So I'm gonna
I got to do more of that, Jason. That's
Sterling,
part of.
click the mic at the top because I muted you. Unmute yourself.
Thanks, man.
Because you had some background noise there when Brian was talking. Hey, welcome to the party. Yeah, you're totally late to the party. We had a big group here, and then they all kind of said bye, and we got
I know. And it popped up on my computer when I logged in. And I was like, oh, they still in? Oh, might as well jump in.
Yeah, cool. It's good to see you. How's things going?
Oh, everything's great, man. Everything's great right now.
So tell people about yourself, like just real quick. So you're like kind of just getting going, right?
Yeah. So we've been established for 3 years now, but kind of had a rebranding about 1.5 years ago, and we just really took our time to really grow our doors as much as just growing our processes.
Yeah.
Before we did it. So at the beginning of the year, I think we were at 50 doors when we first reached out. And we were just kind of like, well, we know we wanted to go with Jason, and Jason was kind of like, come back to me when you're ready.
Is that what I said?
Yeah. I was like, all right, but it was a good, honestly, it took a lot. I was like, all right, it made me appreciate and value you. It was like, all right, don't waste my time. So
I don't remember being that big of an asshole, but I am a pretty big asshole sometimes.
No, but it was wonderful, man, because it added value. It added value, and we came when we was ready. So about a month ago, we we logged on with Jason and his team, and it's been mind blowing what your team has done for us. Over the last, I would say, it's been a full month now. We've added 20 doors.
What?
Yeah.
Wait. 20 doors in how long?
A month.
That's awesome. That's killer.
Yeah, we gotta. I mean, everybody's telling me that our website is it's like, oh my God, your website is dope. Everything's streamlined. And now the problem is like, how can we get should we hire people? What should we do? Like,
oh my gosh, you gotta watch the video just of what happened before. Like I'll put the link out on the DoorGrow, because this is like recording it to YouTube or something, I think. So that's in there. But yeah, you got to hear John, because John Westrom came in here.
Yeah.
Probably like I talked about when I sold you on the seed package stuff that we did for you, but he was talking about his results, and it's just crazy. It's crazy to hear. But he's in the same boat as you. He's like, I've got so many doors, I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to figure out fulfillment, and I'm worried
we got to
that
be
I'm
more
not gonna...
efficient. Like, so I logged on with Ray, and we're doing property mailed.
Oh, that's cool.
And unload my maintenance, and that's been huge. I mean, honestly, my tenants, and you talk about the cycle of suck, and cycle of suck for us is maintenance, because that's something that we don't make money off of, so it's often neglected. Mm-hmm. So we've been neglected. People are always complaining about it. So within the last couple of days our response is like, oh my God, thank you so much for your responsiveness. Thank you so much for just what you've done. And I'm like, well, all I've done is unload it.
We need to use you as a guinea pig, because I think you're one of the first seed package people. So that's signed on with Property Meld, and so you have Gather Kudos going. And Ray and we've been talking about how can we kind of connect these two, so that after maintenance happens, they're pushed the Gather Kudos link or something like that happens. So.
Oh yeah, I mean,
on him about that, because I think if we could connect those two, you're going to get all these reviews coming in, and you're just going to be killing it every time you do.
Because, I forwarded him all the testimonials that we've got just from people like, thank you so much for just being on top of this. And I mean, honestly, before we did it, we were really hurting in that area. That was something that we would get it done, but the attention wasn't there. So I definitely think that's a big thing with our Gather Kudos, to try to link those two.
Killer. That's awesome. That's great. I'm glad you're doing so well.
Hey, Sterling, where are you at, Sterling?
I'm in Indianapolis.
Oh, cool.
Cool. And your company's called Ethosity?
Yep, Ethosity Property Management Group. So it's been great. And I mean, I was laughing today because I just did the same sales language. Yeah. And I was
Wait, you just watched that video today?
Well, no, I've been watching it for the last week that it's been uploaded for me.
Yeah.
And I've been
how many times have you watched it?
I watched it at least 3 or 4 times just driving in my car now. And I'm just saying it back and forth in a conversation at a sales presentation. And I was like, oh, here goes the opportunity. A, not B. A, not B. I mean, A plus B. You're focusing on A, but you should be focusing on B. And it was huge, man, because a lot of people was focusing on our price or something like that. And I mean, you have been a big addition to our growth. So I thank you for it.
Did you say addition or addiction?
He said addiction. I heard that.
Did I? Addition.
I think that was a Freudian slip. You're addicted to my stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, so thank you.
Yeah, man. I didn't intend for this to be a testimonial fest, but but that's your celebration, right? We've been sharing our celebrations.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm we're in the business to add doors, and this month we've been the best month since we've been established. So thanks.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing. That's awesome.
I know how hard it is to grow, especially 20 doors in a month. That's pretty good.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. That's killer.
Well, especially when you had 60 doors and then you add that, you're like, holy crap.
Well, Sterling, what's great about that is I'm in Santa Barbara, California, and I'm looking at a partner of mine. We're thinking about joining, but we're looking at buying another company. And we're seriously weighing the cost of that as opposed to just, growing our own doors organically, like you just did. And and I'm hearing these numbers like, wow, 20 in a month. If we could do that over a year, I mean, we could grow really fast.
Here's what's funny is what's really similar. So John Westrom, if you heard on my interview, like we set this goal when he was a coaching client, and his goal was to get 20 doors for 90 days. This was a 90-day challenge goal. It was like, I said, pick something so big, it's scary, but it sounds like it'll be possible with my help. And he said, okay, I'll do 20 doors. And because he was closing about 3 a month.
Yeah.
He had 220 doors. He'd been doing this for like 20 years. And so he was so funny because he watched the 2 sales training videos. I just emailed them to him, right? And he watched those, and and he watched them several times like you, which is funny. And within the first 10 days, so I connected with him the next week, and within 10 days he said, I've closed 13 deals.
Wow.
I was like, yeah. And then at the end of he's like, but I have to slow down. Like I can't. I've been going crazy because it was exciting, but I got to slow down, and because I can't handle it. I can't handle this growth. And so then he slowed down. By the end of the first month, he closed 19 deals. So
all singles?
I think, yeah. For us, it was. I mean, I would say for one of the things that we talk about all the time is not really focusing on the doors, but we've added way more fees and things like that where we were really undervaluing ourselves prior to it, where our average door was somewhere around $64, I think, when I did it on average, where now our average door is somewhere around $97.
Yeah. So you've
per month.
increased your revenue.
Yeah. So because I mean, it was no point of focus on doors if they're going to be underperforming doors anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the other
that's
thing that I saw when I was going through the growth phase and sort of weeding out and figuring out who I wanted as clients was we would often utilize the pricing, the cost factor as a pre-filter for the type of clients that we wanted to acquire. And those who are willing to pay a fair amount, according to our local geography, they turned out to be fewer headaches altogether as a client, because they saw the value in what we were providing, and they were not going to be complaining and nitpicking about every dollar spent.
And that applies to any industry, from my experience, because I've worked with entrepreneurs and like we do websites for pretty much anybody, and I've done websites for lots of different industries, talked to lots of different entrepreneurs, and I have lots of buddies that are entrepreneurs that I'm connected with, and if you take on the wrong people or you don't value yourself well, like those clients are the worst clients. My most challenging and picky and difficult clients were the clients that I was charging less than $1,000 for a completely custom website back when I started, versus like clients that I have that I'm doing like 10K plus websites for. They like trust us and they don't micromanage us, and it's just they hired us to be the expert instead of, small-minded people have a small mindset, and their mindset is I need to control everyone around me to get the best result, and they always ended up with a worse outcome than if they would just let us do everything and trust us. And so it's funny, the more involved the client is on a website project or on anything in trying to tell us how to do things or what they want, the worse their result is.
Absolutely.
Which is just ironic.
I took on a client. He was getting ready to go. He shipped overseas to Qatar in the military, and I told him at the outset, the day we signed the contract, I said, "Here's how we operate. You're at arm's length. We're going to take care of everything. You fund your account for maintenance items. We take care of anything that is required on the property, and then the following month's rent will reimburse whatever we spend in the escrow. And within 2 weeks of us signing the contract and us doing the repair and turnover work required to get it ready for rent, he got his sister involved. And she came up. She was a real estate agent. He happened to be an expert in everything. So I basically told my clients, like, look, we're done. I can't micromanage everything the way that your sister wants things to be done. And in the end, it's going to cost you more money than what it is if you just let us do our job.
Yeah, and you have to have the confidence to say that to clients.
Yeah. And we can always, and I think you've made this point before, Jason, was you got to almost write it down what you're willing to stand for, because as salespeople, we can always rationalize why we can make this work.
Yep. That's the
I
truth.
need this. How can I? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my problem right now, Jason. Is my two biggest owners, or they make up almost 75% of my portfolio right now, and they are those people. And they're super micromanaging. They're on me all the time, and it's like, you hired me to do a job. Let me do it. You're smothering me here, And I would love to get out from under them and just say, you know what, guys, thanks a lot, but I don't need you anymore. But unfortunately, right now, like Sterling just said, I do need them right now because they're the bulk of my income. So it's a catch-22.
Forgive me, Fred.
I was in that.
Policy is RPM. So who is just
Steve?
Oh, Steve. Okay.
You like going by Steve or Steven?
Either one. My mother calls me Steven, but that's when she's mad at me. So.
Okay.
I don't know if I can spell your name. I'm going to try it here in the comments.
Oh, very good. Oh, almost. You got one letter off, but that's okay.
Okay.
D-O-W-N-A-R-W-I-C-Z.
Oh, okay.
But it's pronounced like a V, so I can see why you did that.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Like the window viper.
Yeah. Well, the V's and the W's are pronounced opposite. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So Donarovich. Is that how you say it?
It should be Dovnarovich.
Dovnarovich.
Ha.
Right. You go by Donarovich?
Yeah, because it was anglicized when my dad came here when he was 14.
Yeah.
They changed it for him,
I always thought your last name was fun to say.
Down the road a bit. That's how people remember. I had a maitre d' who was a memory expert, and he says, "Your name's easy." I said, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, down the road a bit."
Yeah, down the road a bit. Donarovich. Yeah. I could think of a different phrase, but I probably can't say it out loud. Down the road, B. So,
yeah, that's it.
Like a really mean way to give directions to a female. Yeah.
But that's cool. I mean, Sterling made an excellent point. I want to get back to the model where it's because when you grow organically, you get to pick your poison, essentially. Whereas I take on these big clients. One was 26 doors, 18 doors, 24 doors, 8 doors, all at once, and they were occupied, so they had tenants in them that probably half of them I would have never rented to in the first place because there were a lot of not great
single family?
These were multifamily.
That's all right. It's funny. It's
when
funny.
You take on your own, you can, when I take on an empty building, even if it's a multifamily, if I fill it, I feel much better about it when I'm done because I did the screening, So.
Well, to make it's funny. I'm in the similar boat. Like I'm growing and I have these great things, but I have two multifamily. One's 24 unit, and another is 12, and it's given my team and myself hell. And we're like, should we dump this? Should we not dump it? And
they're more work. They're definitely more work.
Yeah, and that's where we're in a mix of like, man, I really don't want to dump it because it is revenue, but
Yeah, I've had clients where they had like one investment outfit that gave them like hundreds of doors.
Right.
And it's hard to say no, right? It's really,
that's what happened to me. I had a huge client and I couldn't say no.
Yeah. And then maybe you were telling me this. I don't know, but I've heard so many stories. But then what happened is they took that in-house. So they're like, we'll just start doing the property management in-house, and they took that away. And so, and
And
what
that's a
happened?
danger too, because
What
a lot of these
happens?
institutional guys want to save money, and all of a sudden they'll hire somebody, and internally they go, "Oh, we can do this for 3%." Of course, they do a terrible job, but
Yeah,
their bottom line looks good because this is an investor group, so they have to
yeah.
show profit on the back end, and then so their mindset is really all about the numbers. And of course, we know that that's not really what the business is. So
Yeah, so there's a couple things I'll say to that. So one, those guys, the big outfits that think they can just take a whole portfolio of properties and just put somebody in place and manage them, like these guys usually reach out for help to like my buddy Clint Collins, who runs Rent Like a Pro
yeah,
and
I know
Guaranteed
Clint.
Rent.
Sure.
He does
Yeah.
consulting now, uh, and these companies like hire him to come in because they try it and they're failing miserably and they don't realize how difficult it is, and then they bring him in and he replaces the staff and like
Right.
sets up processes and like changes everything and gets it working and runs it for a while because they have no clue. They think they can just hire like one key person and it'll all
Well,
just happen.
well, you know what the bottom line with my guys is, Jason? They look at the tenant like they're a commodity, not
Yeah,
a human being,
you
and they
sure.
just treat them like absolute crap. And of
Right.
course, when they, and that gets reflected back on me, because when
Yeah.
they, they'll come into the property, they do work, they do leasehold improvements. They come too early. The workers are rude to the tenants. They don't think about any of that, and then who has to field all that anger? Me, and it's
Yeah.
like, wow, this really sucks.
Yeah.
So
And that's
but they don't think very much of their tenants, and really they're their customers. Ultimately, that's your customer, is your tenant. If your tenant's
Yeah,
happy, everyone else is happy.
tricky thing in this business, isn't it? Is as a property manager, you have two customers. You actually have the tenant, and you also have the owner of the property. And
Right. Well,
and if it's not done well, you're between a rock and a hard place.
yeah,
and really though, I think it's the tenant, because if the tenant's happy, they'll pay their rent, and now the owner's happy. So really,
Yeah,
ultimately, I think that the top of the food chain is the tenants themselves, and you need to
sure.
treat them right. Otherwise, you're going to have nothing but problems.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta take good care of them. So yeah, it's good stuff. The other challenge though is when you take on a big client like that, uh, usually people when they get a boost to their revenue, they increase their expenses in their business, right? Oh, well now we can afford this car payment, or now we can add this, or now I can do this, and we add stuff. And so the challenge is that can go away really quickly, and that becomes really painful for property managers. All of a sudden, you had this extra pool of income, and then boom, it's gone. Oh crap, lay people off. We need to cut this out. We need to scale down, whatever. And so it becomes painful to kind of manage that. A really great book is Profit First. You heard of this book, Steve?
No, no, not that
You
one.
heard of this book, Sterling? All right, I got to put this book in the Seed membership site for the UC package
Who
guys.
wrote it?
Um, I don't know. Easy if I Google it. The book's like sitting right
Yeah,
over there on my shelf. And
Google's faster than your memory, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Profit First. This guy's taken the accounting universe by storm. So the basic principle is so simple, right? So normally, how's profit calculated?
Well,
It's
you
Mike
subtract expenses.
Michaelovich. He's probably related to you, Steve.
Yeah, there you go. You got your cash flow, you minus expenses, you get your profit, right?
Yeah. So you've got revenue, sales, whatever, and you take out costs, right? Expenses, and then you have profit, right? So
Right.
profits last. The problem is psychologically is that profit never ends up existing. It doesn't happen because we are hardwired as human beings psychologically to eat everything on our plate. We don't just leave stuff left over waiting there sitting around.
Sure.
And so businesses run off of that, and he calls it like Frankenstein accounting because it works so nasty and ugly in the way it's put together, and so it's a monster. And every entrepreneur has experienced this, that it feels like no matter how, you never get ahead because your
That's
expenses
that,
are always
that's
growing.
government accounting. No matter how much money you got in the plate, you're going to spend more.
Yeah,
And
so
if there's any left, they'll find a way to spend it anyway.
so
Yeah, but
I
next
just
year.
so I hired a profit first coach. She was actually my accountant. I found out she did this. I was like, I need this. She's like, I do this. I'm a profit first coach. I was like, okay. So I recommend now to everyone starting out, get a profit first accountant. So this will be in one of my upcoming podcasts. But I'm actually going to, once we get through the process with my business, we're going to do that. But same issue, like with my business, it's with web design on custom projects, it's feast or famine. With the residual income from like hosting and support, it's a lot like the property management model. And so, but I still have big flux from feast or famine, depending on how heavy I focus on sales or don't, or if a sales slump happens, or if it's the time of the year like property managers aren't doing stuff because they're so busy. So, and that becomes really painful because it's hard to plan for things. It's hard to know how to balance your expenses. And so sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, expenses are outweighing, like my team costs and other things are outweighing that. So, so I heard about profit first accounting. I'm going through that process, and it makes so much sense. It's going to create so much more safety and freedom for me to make business decisions instead of like looking at my bank account going, can I afford this thing or this new service or this thing I want to do or this new coach I want to hire or whatever, right? So, so yeah, profit first accounting. So, check that out. So the cycle of suck idea I kind of got from I didn't get it from him. I came up with this on my own, but the cycle of suck, well, I also came up with it from one of my clients, Travis Cassell. He's in Atlanta, and he explained to me this cycle of suck thing, like don't take on the bad clients. And I was like, I just kind of been learning and figuring that out in my own business. So I'm like, I'm not taking on clients below like, it was like $1,000 projects, or I'm not doing it below $3,000 projects. And so, and I noticed that everything was getting better. And I had a conversation with him, and he was like, well, I saw this in my business, and he went from like lots and lots of doors to scaling his business down to being much smaller but much more profitable, and being very picky about the doors because he had a heart attack.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, I need to change things. This is not how I want my life to be, you know. So he shifted things a lot. And so he explained to me all the problems he noticed. And I was like, so my brain put this together. I was like, this is the cycle of suck. So he kind of inspired that. So, but another client of mine pointed out, this Michael dude that wrote the Profit First book had this great book called The Pumpkin Plan. And he talks about, and so I have that book too, but the Pumpkin Plan, he talks about this, how he figured out from a pumpkin farmer, he put two and two together, this principle, because in a pumpkin farmer, in a pumpkin patch, you have to, in order to have prize-winning, giant, amazing pumpkins, you have to get rid of all the old, moldy, and struggling, and not so great pumpkins. You have to get them out of the patch so they're not using up resources,
Right.
so that your business can grow, which is very much the cycle of suck. And he pointed this out to me, and I was like, that's great. That's like, there's a book about what I've been telling people about. So, yeah, he comes up with some great stuff. He has another book called The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. That's all about like bootstrapping a company with very little expenses. That was one of his first, great books. And then he came out, I think, with the Pumpkin Plan, and he mentioned the Profit First idea in it, and it went viral just from being mentioned in it, I think, his Pumpkin Plan book. And then he did a whole book on it, and now there's Profit First certified coaches and Profit First accountants, and it's pretty awesome. And I've heard
I'm kicking myself because I got away from my original business plan, which was, I was trying to stay at the upper end of my market with, like you said, John's charging more than anybody else in his market. I was kind of there. And you can, and in my market, as you know, there's a whole niche for that. I mean, I could really focus. In fact, I thought about at one point only focusing on rentals that were like $5,000 a month and up. That was going to be my niche market. Sterling's laughing.
Yeah, Santa Barbara is a nice area.
Sterling, my average right now, even with multi-levels, is about $2,000 a month. But
yeah. Well, no,
It's
I
it's
laugh because we're in the process of doing that. We're just like, hey
no,
man,
and it can, I'm not denigrating. I mean, you can do this in any market because it puts you, you can
yeah,
put yourself in the stratosphere, but you have to have the offering as well. And I got away from that. I was foolish. I let these big guys come to town, offer me less money, and I fell for the big number because it was a lot of units. And I would love to sort of wean those out of my business and back to my original
well,
plan.
I think the biggest thing, like I was originally a salesperson before I got into this, so I was just as a salesperson, it's easy to confuse activity with achievement. And
Right.
it's like, oh man, I'm closing deals. I'm closing deals. Like, how many deals did you close? Oh man, I closed 20 deals. And it's like, but is it profitable? And
Yeah.
that's the difference between being a
Yeah.
business person and a salesperson, right? It's like, is it really working for you and it's going to make you money? As a salesperson, it didn't matter. I was getting a check and I was selling.
No, you're absolutely right. Because what happened to me is, I'm sure if I did the math on it, my hourly wage has dropped significantly. I work a lot more hours, so I got more money coming in. But I'm working 7 days a week, which at my age, I'm over that. And I mean, it's just not. It's just not a good plan. It's not a good model.
Yeah, I think you have to do that though, right? Is really calculate what do you make per year on each door, and then what you make per month on each door, and that's really what determines. And I always say, like, the marketing in your business is going to dictate what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and conversely, my expenses are commensurately higher. Maybe not quite as high, but I mean, it costs a lot of money to do business in this town too.
Oh,
So
sure.
Absolutely.
it balances
As you can
out.
see me
High
living in
cost of living.
sitting in my living room.
Well, Sterling, I'm excited to see what you do with like Cass's thing. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're gonna start trying any of that out, or what you do with Karen's thing. Those bonuses that are in the seed membership site. But it'll be interesting to see where you're at the end of the 6 months.
Yeah, no, I'm
'Cause
excited.
we're gonna do an interview, and you're gonna be talking about some numbers, and it's gonna be really cool. So.
Oh man, and he spoke to, like, should you buy or into and stuff like that. And it's been crazy. I did the real estate prospecting one, and I ended up having my wife do it too. I was like, hey, you're going to jump on the next one and watch it, because she does all our marketing and stuff. And
The event I did on the FRBOs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was pretty good. I was surprised. I didn't know how that would turn out, but it turned out pretty good.
And even we started networking with our local Cyria, which is a investor network, and it's really helped us. And it wasn't a lot of just property managers. There was a lot of people that did property management, maintenance, and real estate, but it wasn't somebody that solely did property management.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a lot in my market right now. Like, just because we solely focus and our goals are aligned with people, they're like, oh yeah, I'll go with you.
Riches are in the
everything.
niches, Grant Cardone says. Yeah. I make a lot easier money. Like I have spent a lot less time hustling and grinding to get the same sort of result by creating the DoorGrow brand, because it's focused on a niche.
Right.
Which I knew this. I knew I knew that that's how marketing works. But until I applied it in my own business and ate my own dog food and created that, like, it's really been crazy how well it's taken off. So, yeah. And same thing. There's a lot of guys that are doing real estate and property management, or even other stuff too, and they might even have a maintenance business, and it just gets so diluted. Gary Keller's One Thing. That's a really good book.
Yep.
I
I was a former Keller Williams agent, and I read all his books, and that's where I got it from.
Yeah, cool. Well, cool, guys. I'm going to wrap this up because this has been going since 1. We've been doing this for 2 hours, and it was killer. I'm surprised at the turnout. We had a really good turnout, and I think I was really nervous nobody would show up. And because I tried doing just a live chat, like just chat, like messages event, and the only 2 people in it were Ray from Property Mail and myself. So I did it anyway, and I talked, and I was like, this is lame. So this has been really cool to have so many people turn out and hang out. We've had at least 10 plus whatever. So we'll do this. We'll do something like this each Friday. I think it'll be fun to see who comes out and who we get
Pretty
together.
cool. It's like Ray was saying earlier. It's kind of like a weekly check-in. It's like what do you have to celebrate in terms of success? So it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, we did celebrations this time. Maybe we'll do that again, or maybe we'll do a different topic. But I want to do something to make the DoorGrow Club actually social. I'm like blurry right now. My camera's not focused on me. See? There we go. But anyway, yeah, I want to make it actually social because I got the idea from Blab, which just closed its doors. But Blab was this cool platform where we got on and everybody was like hanging out, talking to each other, and I would get together with these other marketers, and we would do these marketing events on Friday nights, and I made friends, and I went to some conferences, and I met them there in real life, and like it was just really cool that like actually connect, and social media had never really done that for me, like actually make friends, like meet people.
Yeah.
It just wasn't, social's not really social, so I wanted to do something that was actually social where you get to know people. But you got to get a webcam, Brian.
Yeah, I'll have it ready next time. So
The crazy grin in your photo is killing me.
that was
I
a
got a razz on you to motivate you. So every time you're talking, there's just this crazy grin, and I'm hearing the voice come out of it, and I'm like, is this guy like the Joker? Steve has no photo, so Steve, when he talks in my mind, I'm picturing like pictures I've seen of him on Facebook or something.
I gotta get one too.
You gotta get your webcams. All right, cool. Well,
right,
we'll
thanks,
talk to all of you guys later.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Take care.
All right, see you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.